Chapter 11. From the trail, Brody and I climbed down into the hollow. Now that the leaves were gone, the cabin was more visible, but it looked as bad as it had last time I'd seen it, maybe a little worse. Somebody's been here, Brody pointed at Dad's finds. Broken stuff, old bottles, animal skulls still lined up on the stone wall. My dad's a photographer. He was taking pictures of those things. Brody stared at me as if I were even weirder than he'd thought. You kidding me? Why would anyone take pictures of junk? You got them all beautiful? Mountains, and you waste film on busted plates and broken bottles? Dad's got a digital camera, so he's not wasting film, I said. And besides, anybody can point a camera at a mountain. My dad's pictures are original. They tell stories. Well, let me tell you something. Nobody with any sense messes with old Auntie's stuff. In fact, hardly anyone ever comes near this place. You're here. I ain't touching nothing of hers, and I ain't going inside. I'm just trying to help you, that's all. Brody looked at the cabin's dark doorway. You went in there, didn't you? That's why the door's open. A cold wind rifled through the fallen leaves, sending them scurrying through the open door. I shivered, remembering the cabin's dark, damp, creepy atmosphere. I didn't stay inside long, I told Brody, and Erica didn't go in at all. But Dad, well, he poked around, taking pictures, hauling stuff outside, and taking more pictures. I remember how Erica and I had sat on the wall, barely speaking to each other. Her absence stabbed him with guilt. Brody kicked at piles of dead leaves and watched them fly into the air when the wind blew. Harm's done, I reckon. What do you mean? What does all this have to do with my sister? He continued to kick at the leaves. I ain't sure, he said, but folks say old Auntie takes a girl and keeps her 50 year, then lets her go and takes another one. It's been going on since folks first came to this place. I wanted to hit him in the mouth, in his lying mouth. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. All I know is 50 years before Celine disappeared, a girl was took, and one was took 50 years before that. I sat down on the wall where Erica and I had sat. Brody was an ignorant, superstitious idiot, and I didn't believe a word he said. But I wanted to find my sister. I wanted her to come home, and I wanted us all to go back to Connecticut, to the life we had before we came to this horrible place. Brody shuffled through the leaves and sat beside me. Here's what you should do, he said. Come back here at night, sneak up real quiet, and don't get too close. The cabin will be like it was 200 years ago. Old Auntie will be in there, and your sister will be with her. How can I believe anything that crazy? 'Cause it's the truth. Brody was so close to me, I could see his little gray teeth and the dirt rings in his neck. His pale eyes peered out from his tangled hair, I swear. The wind died down as if it were waiting to blow my words across time and into old Auntie's ears. Will you come with me? He shook his head and got to his feet. Let's get out of here. Shouldn't we look inside before we go? He edged away from the ruins. Not me, he said. You go in there. She might take you too. You're afraid, I said. So what if I am? Brody's nose was running. He wiped it with his sleeve, leaving a slimy trail on the suede. At least I ain't stupid. Well, you at least wait outside. Nope, Brody turned away. I told you what you need to know. I watched him climb out of the hollow. For a while, I heard him on the trail, and then it was just me and the wind and a pair of buzzards circling overhead. I went to the door of the cabin. Erica, I called softly. Erica, are you in there? The ruins were silent. The only things moving were the dead vines blowing in the wind and 3 or 4 crows cawing at one another from the trees. I should go home, I thought, but why? Everyone except Mom was out searching for my sister. Erica, I whispered, where are you? I heard a muffled noise, as if someone were moving around inside the cabin. What if Erica was trapped in there, not by old Auntie, but by a fallen rafter or something? I walked slowly through the cabin door. Please, 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 let it be my sister. Let her be all right. It took my eyes a few moments to adjust to the dark. Erica, are you in here? More noise, frantic sounds, as if someone were trying to hide or run away. Who's there? I hope my voice didn't give away my fear. Scrabbling sounds, an animal, I thought, a fox or a raccoon. I started backing toward the door when I saw a flash of green in a shadowy corner, red hair, a blue scarf. Erica, I climbed over a rafter. and ducked under a tree that had fallen through the roof and stumbled across the uneven floor. Erica, wait, don't run. It's me, Daniel. She was climbing up a pile of rubble and trying to squeeze through a splintered remains of a window. Frantically, I grabbed her foot and tugged. What's wrong with you? I shouted. I've come to take you home. Suddenly, she fell back toward me, and I saw her face. She was not my sister. Sickly and pale, her skin grimy with dirt, she had the look of a wild creature. I gripped her skinny waist tightly. Who are you? How did you get my sister's clothes? Where is she? Let me go, let me go. The girl twisted and turned. She was so thin I was afraid of breaking her bones, but I couldn't let her go, not until she told me where she'd gotten Erica's things. That's my sister's jacket, her scarf, her jeans, and her sweater, her shoes. I shook her. Where did you get them? She gave them to me, told me they was my clothes. I could keep them. Erica gave you her clothes? I don't know nothing about Erica. Who gave the clothes to you then? I was frantic now and scared. Auntie, she told me to wear 'em home, but I'm scared to leave the cabin. I don't remember none other home. She looked around. Thing is, I don't know what's happened to it. There must have been a fearsome storm to make it look like this. The girl was beginning to scare me. What's your name? Let me go. She began to struggle again, but she was weaker now and easier to hold on to. Look, I said, you don't need to be scared. I'm not going to hurt you. Just tell me your name. Auntie calls me Girl. Girl isn't a name. It's what you are. Ain't that what your name is? What are you? No, a name is who you are. I can't see no difference. Besides, Girl is all the name I got. She couldn't be who I thought she was, no matter what that liar Brody said. It was impossible. Celine would have been almost 60 years old now. Still, I asked anyway, does the name Celine Estes mean anything to you? No, it don't. She struggled to get away. Her wrist bones moved under my skin. Let me go, please. I didn't do nothing, only what Auntie told me. Holding her tightly, I pulled her toward the door. You're coming with me. No. She fought me with all her strength, but she was puny and probably underfed. With one free hand, she grabbed the doorpost and held on. Let me get that pretty dolly. Auntie gave her to me. She said I was to take good care of her. Keeping her close, I let her go back to the corner where she had been hiding. There, in a pile of rags, was little Erica. Seeing the doll gave me shivers all over. That's my sister's doll, I said. She left her in the woods and someone stole her, either you or Auntie. I never stole nothing. Auntie found her. The girl picked up the doll by one arm and cuddled her close. She's the prettiest thing I ever seen. I love her to death. Little Erica stared at the girl with her blue blank eyes. The small smile still curved the corners of her mouth, but her clothing was soiled, her hair tangled, and her face dirty. It was a special doll made to look like my sister, I told the girl. Your sister must be real pretty, the girl said. Are you sure you haven't seen her? She's been missing since yesterday. Please, you must know something. You have her clothes and her doll. I never see anyone but Auntie. The girl looked around as if she hoped to find Auntie hiding in the shadows. She was as desperate as I was. Where is Auntie now? I asked. Gone. She don't want me no more because I can't do the work she needs done. She says she's got someone new to help her. The girl's eyes filled with tears. I watched them run down her dirty face, leaving little trails in the grime. She was the most pitiful creature I'd ever seen. Come home with me. I tugged her wrist hard. You can't stay here all by yourself. I expected her to fight me, but she followed me outside as if she'd lost all her strength. One hand held little Erica and the other held mine. Maybe she was as tired of struggling as I was. She looked back at the cabin so often she stumbled on roots and stones and almost fell. When she could no longer see the ruin, not even the chimney, she whimpered like a frightened puppy. Are you afraid? I asked her. Yes, she whispered. I'm scared of leaving the cabin. How long have you lived with Auntie? A long, long, long time. Were you a baby when you came here? No, I always been just like I am now. Then you can't have been with her very long. You'd be older. The girl looked far into the trees and the mountains beyond them and looked up at the sky. It seems like a long time. You know the story about Celine, don't you? She shook her head. I told you I don't know nothing about Celine. Everybody who lives here knows the story, I yelled at her. You're just playing acting, aren't you? Did Brody put you up to this? Stop yelling at me. I don't know Brody, and I ain't acting. I studied her pale face, the dark circles under her eyes, the tangled wildness of her red hair. She seemed older than she was, exhausted, malnourished, neglected. What if Brody was right, and this strange girl was Celine, and old auntie had swapped her for Erica? No, I told myself, no. Old auntie was a legend, a folktale, not a real-life person. She wasn't here in the woods, roaming the hills and valleys with bloody bones, snatching girls to be her helpers every 50 years. How could anyone believe such nonsense? Not my parents, and not me either. I held the girl's wrist tighter and made her walk faster. Sooner or later, someone would get the truth out of her.